Hey y'all, and welcome to Brawl. My name is Brian, and Kash Patel completely humiliates slimy Senator Patty Murray and turns the tables on her own terrible questions. Let's dive in.
It is critical that we understand how you are spending taxpayer dollars. So Director Patel, when should we expect this FY25 spend plan for the FBI? Have you seen it? Have you reviewed it? When will we get it?
I'll get you an answer, ma'am. I don't have a timeline on that.
It was due last week by law.
I understand.
And your answer is you just understand. You're not going to follow the law?
My answer is that I am following the law, and I'm working with my interagency partners to do this and get you the budget that you are required to have.
And you have no timeline?
No.
Well, we also need a full budget request, not a single paragraph full of wild talking points that we saw with the skinny budget proposal. We're now having a budget hearing without a budget request. So, Director Patel, where is the FY 2026 budget request for the FBI?
It's being worked on, ma'am.
Have you reviewed it? Have you approved it?
Not yet.
When will we get it?
As soon as I can get it from my interagency partners and get it approved.
6 months from now?
I don't know, ma'am. I'm not
Well,
going to
how
make up
do
a timeline.
we as Congress do our budget and our work without that request and without the spend plan?
Well, ma'am, I'm here. I'm
don't
doing the
care.
best I can. I can't make up answers. I'm going to commit to you to work on getting you the information you need.
That is insufficient and deeply disturbing. No response?
I've given my response.
Well, the FBI is already down 1,900 employees since 2023 as a direct result of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. And under the Trump administration, FBI agents, analysts, linguists, cyber experts, and scientists are being asked to do a lot more in order to keep us safe. Director Patel, we all know that budget cuts will reduce the FBI's ability to counter threats of terrorism, and it will hinder its ability to keep pace with firearm background checks and shutter operations that combat violent crime, drugs, gangs, and transnational organized crime. Now, I understand that you told our House colleagues yesterday that you don't want to reduce the FBI workforce, meaning that you disagree with what President Trump is proposing?
No, I agree that we can sustain the mission with the proposed budget, and I agree with the budget. And as I said yesterday, I believe that what I said was I can do more with more. And I gave examples of what more we could do if we were given more.
Well, it's different than what you told the House yesterday. So what are you communicating to the President and the White House about what you need and what? And again, we don't have a budget request from you, so I'm not sure what you're asking us for.
I'm not asking you for anything at this time.
You can operate without a budget?
I never said that.
Well, this is unprecedented. Okay, well, let me just go to another topic since you're not going to answer that. President Trump has turned the Department of Justice into a tool to go after his perceived enemies, and many of the actions we have now seen at the FBI are alarming. The FBI has reassigned and pushed out career FBI agents for political reasons. We have seen fear and intimidation promoted throughout the Bureau, including by polygraphing your own staff. We've seen the arrest of a sitting judge in Wisconsin. And during your confirmation hearing, you committed that there would be no politicization, no retribution at the FBI under your leadership. You've reportedly placed FBI employees responsible for investigation January 6 cases on leave. Is that keeping up your promise of no politicization, no retribution?
It is, because that's wildly inaccurate. Let me tell you what the FBI has done since I got there. 8,276 federal arrests, to 820 kilograms seized of fentanyl. That's enough to kill 250,000 people. Over 3,000 firearms seized, 350 gang cases, 3,000 cases against violent
Well,
criminals.
that's not my question. We know that you...
Well, you asked if I was weaponizing the FBI, and I am not. I'm giving you the hard, concrete examples of the men and women putting handcuffs on bad people, doing harm to our children and innocent Americans. I do not see weaponization.
You have placed on leave FBI employees responsible for the investigation of January 6th. That sounds political to me.
I have not placed anyone on leave who has not violated their ethical obligation or their oath to the Constitution.
So if they were investigating January 6th, you believe they were violating an ethical obligation?
Nope. I think the common theme here is you putting words in my mouth, and I'm not going to tolerate it, nor will the men and women of the FBI.
Well, you did place on leave an analyst responsible for investigating Russia's meddling in the 2016 election. Is that politicization? Is that retribution?
No, not if she broke the law or the ethical guidelines. I don't know which case you're talking about, but that's the standard. And we will hold ourselves inwardly accountable, and we will not be strayed from our mission because people think we are politicizing the Bureau. If you want to talk about someone who was attacked by a weaponized Bureau, you're looking at him. And now he's the director of the FBI, and he's cleaning it up.
Attaboy, Cash. Go get her. Just go get her. Who elected this substitute teacher to Congress? This isn't even Congress. That's Patty Murray. She's a full-blown senator. You'd think that the good people of the United States would elect someone else besides this, because who's going to take this substitute teacher seriously? She is out here complaining about, oh, you don't have a budget proposal for us. That's required by law. Ma'am, he just got here. He just got here, and he's trying to clean up a mess from an administration that quite literally weaponized the FBI. Folks, this is projection at its finest. The Democrats do this time and time and time again. They project because they're doing the same things behind closed doors. Senator Murray is complaining also about, oh, the FBI and the feds arrested a Wisconsin judge. Are you following all of our laws? Yes, ma'am. I think that's why you're complaining so much. Methinks the lady doth protest too much. Seriously, this is a huge problem in the Democrat Party, and we're seeing it time and time again. It's not just at the federal level where they're asking these ridiculous questions, trying to get a few moments where they're hoping to turn the story around on Kash Patel. It did not work, by the way, but it's matriculated all the way down to the local levels. Here's the story. And remember, Patty Murray is complaining about this story, even though, after I read this to you, you're going to realize that the feds were right to do what they did. Dugan, the judge that got arrested in Wisconsin, and another unnamed judge are alleged to have confronted the agents in a hallway. They were dealing with some ICE agents who wanted to deal with an illegal migrant who is currently being held for charges inside her own court, and she refused to work with them. This is what she did. After Dugan escorted Flores Ruiz and his lawyer through a jury door, agents pursued them by foot and took Flores Ruiz into custody, according to the affidavit. So in other words, this judge took it upon herself to apprehend ICE agents, asking basically for a manager, and then she led the defendant through a jury door. She, in other words, went outside of her normal boundaries and tried to escort this person away from federal agents. This is, by definition, obstruction of justice, and this is a judge. Oh, okay? This is a problem that we're facing on a nationwide scale. And then Patty Murray, for some reason, has the brilliant scheme of complaining about, well, Cash, where's your budget proposal? You're supposed to have this. Again, substitute teacher level energy. No one in their right mind should be kowtowing to this in any way, shape, or form. And of course, Kash Patel doesn't do that. He is reminding her what the law is. And the law is, hey, FBI agents who aren't doing their jobs properly, who aren't using the correct channels, who aren't using their own ethical standards properly, they're going to be removed. Okay? That's what's going to happen. And this is happening across the entire federal government, and it needs to happen. It can't happen fast enough because ultimately we're seeing just a rogue state living outside of normal jurisdictional boundaries and outside of current presidential standards. They're basically operating outside of normal purviews. I think we might call this the deep state. And we're right to do so every single time. We have seen what happens when the FBI gets weaponized against the average American person. We've seen what happens when the FBI puts people on a watch list for questioning school curriculums. We've seen what happens when the FBI puts Catholics on a watch list because they didn't like abortion. We've seen what happens when the FBI just grossly doesn't follow its own standards when going after people who were at the Capitol on that fateful night in 2021. We have seen what happens time and time again. It's time for some standards, y'all. That's what Kash Patel is doing. And this senator is out here finger wagging, trying to get her own few moments so she can go back home to her constituents and say, look what I did to stand up to Donald Trump. Money, please. Seriously, that's what she's doing. This is a beg for money. She does not care about the FBI standards, or rather she might, because you never know what she might be hiding behind closed doors. Remember, folks, if you ever want to achieve great wealth and success, just follow Nancy Pelosi's stock trades. I am glad that we finally have someone in there that's serious about cleaning up the FBI. The last time around, Christopher Wray, he got caught up in a literal interagency civil war, and he lost. The side that was going to follow presidential orders lost. The side that wanted Hillary Clinton and wanted more people like Joe Biden so they could basically continue to operate outside of their normal purview and outside of their normal channels and outside of the law. Yeah, that side ended up winning that battle. Well, folks, there's a new sheriff in town. Kash Patel is not dealing with this nonsense. Dan Bongino is definitely not dealing with this nonsense. We're finally cleaning up the swamp there in D.C. Because remember, folks, it actually is a swamp. Just ask any of the park rangers and ask how the tidal basin's doing. But seriously, folks, there's a new sheriff in town. And we're finally getting someone who's going to clean up the mess. And now we have Democrats in the Senate wagging their fingers. How dare you not do this? Checks notes. Tiny one thing exactly to our parameters. That's shameful. Folks, I'm more ashamed at the fact that we have gotten to this point to begin with, and not the fact that Kash Patel can't put a budget together after, less than 3 months in office. Good grief. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politbrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.